coming up this month at Oshweekend Speedway. Friday, August 16th, Jibs Action Sports presents Autograph Night, and Halloween in August. Kids in costumes get in for free. Come and trick-or-treat the front straightaway while you meet the drivers up close at intermission. Coming up at Oshweekend Speedway next Friday, August 23rd, Gale's Auto Aftermarket presents Gale's Thunderstock Cash Blast, featuring a full card of racing plus a 50-lapper for the Thunderstocks that will pay $2,000, $750, and $500 for the top 3 positions. Friday, August 30th, Pinty's Delicious Foods presents Back to School Backpack Night. Every child in attendance has the chance to win a new backpack filled with school supplies donated by our amazing race teams. And on the track, it's a full card of action, plus Gale's Mini Stock Cash Blast that will pay $1,000, $500, and $300 for the top 3 Mini Stock finishers. Friday, September 6th, Epic Racewear presents Championship Friday. All divisions will battle hard on the final points night of the season, September 6th. The final round in the quest for the rings.
Good evening and welcome to Rivalz Live here on Facebook and YouTube. I believe we're on also. Thanks so much for hanging out. Clinton Jeffrey and Adam Ross here with you. We've got some fun stuff to talk about. As you can see, some new graphics on the screen. Adam and Spencer's always doing a great job. How you doing on this beautiful Wednesday evening?
I'm hanging in there, Clint. It's been quite a few weeks. I'm feeling the burnout. I haven't been feeling great, to tell you the truth. Some anxiety flare-ups, but you know what? Good racing and good action to talk about makes everything feel better.
You're getting old. What's your problem?
I'm getting something. I don't know, man. I don't know. Got to get that dealt with, but I will.
So much cool stuff's been going on lately, Adam, and man, I can't believe how fast the season got by us. Here we are with 4 weeks to go at Oshweekend, coming up on the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, and man, since we got to like July, it's just been a downhill slide. But so much is going on, so much for you and I in particular. Our calendars are pretty full coming up, but that means we get to bring some of the greatest action and around to all these awesome people. And want to thank everybody for watching with us tonight. I'm sure the big teaser of what we're going to talk about coming up, the big Cruder Westbrook incident, has drawn a lot of viewers and a lot of comments and opinions. I think I got disowned by my family this week, but that's all right. They can be wrong. I'm okay with that. But we'll talk a bit more about that coming up. Quick thoughts on that. We don't want to dig into it yet. As you can see, it's a little bit further down on our schedule of events here.
Yeah, let's deal with that later. And it's a rare occasion, Clinton, where you and I are in 100% agreement. And that, I mean, normally we can square off on something, even if we have an inkling that we might want to play the other side. And I don't want to on this one. I was thrilled to see the comments that we got. I don't wholeheartedly disagree with them, but I 100% agree with you.
Well, let's talk about Rivalz pools coming up with our Victory Games situation going on. It's been super cool to have our association going on with them. So let's talk about that. Victory Games coming. Actually, I just got a message from Christian. It should be a Z and not an S there on the screen, Spencer. I just sent you that message. But Rivalz pools coming up. Adam, super cool that we can have gaming on our own type of racing. Quickly, your thoughts on the first couple months of Rivalz coming together and how it's been.
You know, it's been a lot of fun, and I think it's going to get better, Clinton. I think it's going to get bigger and better. In fact, you know, we've sort of dabbled in it this season. I think once it gets more integrated into programming, it's all sorts of fun. That's what it is. It's a fun project. It's a small amount of money people can invest, and we've made some race fans very, very happy. We've had
I've
some
seen a
people
lot of the
cash.
same names come through there. Yeah, a lot of the same names each week seem to be up winning. Currently, I'm looking at my phone here. Currently, we've got Oshweekend Speedway has 4 pools up for this week. The AP Series has a couple of upcoming pools. We've also got NASCAR, NFL Weekly Pick'ems coming up to start the first season of September. That'll be upon us. A couple of other current promotion we want to remind everybody. You can go get to these by going to racerivals.com or victorygameswithaz.com. Right now, they got 1,000% deposit bonus, 500% on your first deposit, 200 on your second deposit, and 300 on your third deposit. So if you're one of those players who's making deposits weekly, some great bonus. So that means if you're making a deposit into your first, second, or third deposit, you're going to pick up some extra cash on that. Quickly, Adam, while I got in front of me, last week's winners, you know, there were some great winners. Thunderstock winner was $70, and that's cool. And a couple of the other ones were split. Also want to mention email money transfer is available, and it's more than just the pools. They've got slots, blackjack, video poker, and more. Sign up, try out the site, and if you're using your sign up bonus, make sure you're playing the other games as well. It's my rival, my rival shot.
I'm just gonna sit back.
I cheated a little bit there.
I dig it. You just keep on keeping on. I'll sit back and hang loose. And actually, Clinton, something that we're going to try that we haven't done just yet, and you might shoot me for this, but we're going to try and do this live at a racetrack in the next 3 weeks. But we can't exactly tell you where and when just yet. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You and I talked about it. We did disagree on just about everything about the show that we're going to do. So I think it'll be perfect.
I mean, it's par for the course if we are on it. So. Don't mean to be distracted. I got my phone. I got all the other screens we're trying to monitor. We got so much information going on here tonight. So anything else we want to follow up with Victory Games before we jump into Canadian Sprint Car Nationals and the new format coming on there, Adam?
No, try it out. Enjoy it. Victory. It's a full casino. So if you like casino games, check it out. I've enjoyed playing Rivalz, even though I haven't seen your name much in the results, and I haven't seen mine much either, Clint.
I have sucked lately, real bad. I haven't been able to catch a win in about a month, but that's okay. I mean, as we've talked out through all the testing of the games, so tough to figure out. But UFC and NFL is coming too, so I'm excited to get in those. I'm a fan of both those sports, and can't wait to get the season going for that. We never agreed.
See, NFL will be fun.
Tonight we do. Yeah, I think it's going to be real interesting.
That's something that I can really square off with you, because you and I can go to a Bills game and just kind of hang out, have a good time. You don't have to be an official. We don't have to be announcers. We can argue about football, and let's take this show on the road.
All right. So don't forget, go on to racerivals.com, sign up for your Victory Games account. They've got some new cool stuff coming in. Adam, we've got a new pitch for them too. We can't wait to get back and talk to them. We've been hashing out too. So we're excited about the new product offerings that are going to come down from our partners at Victory Games and Rivalz. Make sure you check that out. Don't forget, they are the presenting sponsor of the Action Sprint Tour this year. So make sure you're out there checking those out. Let's move on to the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Adam, interesting thoughts have come down the pipes lately between Doug Leonard, Tommy Googe, myself, Greg Callanan. I'm not sure how much you've been included in it. Probably not at all because, well, Tommy didn't want your opinion, but no, to be honest, a couple other things that have been discussed. First off, the Friday night portion was always triple 15s, so only 30 cars were qualifying. There was no B main. If you had a crappy draw on your heat or didn't get rolling, you were basically out. This year, going to be expanded to triple 15, so 45 cars will race A mains, with 3 of those spots being guaranteed. No worse starters than the top 11 spots. Thoughts on that, Adam? It used to be guaranteed inside the top 10. We've added 1 more spot for the third triple. Going to give a lot more guys incentive to come out and race on Friday nights, but there's still no B mains, so only the top 45 guys are going to make it in. What are your thoughts on adding the triple 15 up from doubles?
Yeah, the more the merrier. I mean, with no B mains, the only thing I'd like to see is double heats, but you can't run double heats because there's just too many cars, right? Passing points are great. I think you need double heats to really nail in passing points.
So I think the big passing points complaint was, DJ Christie messaged me last week saying, hey, I started on the pole and I won my heat, but yet I wasn't in the passing points redraw. Corey Turner had the same issue at the Summer Nationals, won his heat, wasn't in the passing redraw. I think maybe Colo Giovanni had the same issue. It's just, that's the problem. I think when you have a 24-car field, if you win your heat, you're pretty much solidly in that top 8 redraw normally, unless a lot of guys have a real dramatic heat situation. But I think when you get up to 60, 40 cars, it's really tough after you get over 40, 50, 60 cars to get a fair shot, because it is kind of a detriment to be starting on the pole. So what do? Do you add those guys in? So many stuff like that.
I think if you win your heat, I think if you're a winner, you have to be in the redraw. I mean, that's something that I would add. Just add 1 more spot to the redraw. No, but
that's a problem, So you're going to take.
You can't. Racing is about winning. You can't do any better than winning. Why not?
Well,
otherwise you have 12 cars in a redraw, 10 cars in a redraw. What's the difference? If you win a race, I don't care what the race is. If you win and there's more than 2 cars in it, you have won. You deserve something for that. You didn't get the luxury of starting deeper in the field.
I get to hear all the drivers bitch and complain about why formats are unfair, and I do tend to believe that if you do a redraw and your nearest competitor draws the pole and you draw 14th, man, that sucks, and it sucks for the fans too.
Well, how bad does it
You know,
suck if you don't get in the redraw at all and you won your heat? You did as well as you can do. You can't do better.
I'm just saying I
It's not-
prefer smaller redraws. You know, all heat winners
That's
are in.
fair.
There you go, Doug Leonard getting us with the official end. Just put an end to that battle. Doug is with
I
us
prefer.
apparently, so this could get interesting if he can hang around for 30 minutes. Let's talk about okay, so that's one thing, Adam. The next thing that we discussed that hasn't been officially awarded yet, let's call it officially up for discussion right now, but I think we're 99%. In the past, we've had 3 B mains that took a few cars into the A. Now it has been tabled to run alphabet soup, a D, C, and B main through the night. The math would be the same payout wise. The laps would cost us one more lap over the current format to make it happen. What are your thoughts on a true alphabet soup over the other format, which was the non-qualified cars got split up into 3 last chance races where we took a couple from each?
I prefer the alphabet soup. Done.
I do too. I think I think that's an exciting deal for our guys. I almost, when we were hashing it out, I almost wish for one of the top guys to have some bad luck, like to have a Parker Price Miller get a flat in the heat and have to come through the DCBA main would be super cool. So I don't wish bad luck on those guys, but I kind of wish one of them would stumble a little bit so we could we could work that out.
For sure. We agree again. I don't like this.
I know what is going on. What'd you eat for dinner? That's the question, you know. So I think we'll have a formal release on both those. We're definitely going to the triples for the Friday, but the alphabet soup deal just came up yesterday, so we'll see what happens. Kevin would love to see us give away a crate sprint car raffle next year. That's not necessarily an out of the box proposition. You got to get somebody who will pony up the cash to first buy it. I think we could do it. Let's take a quick bit of math here. How much would a ticket be worth for something like that, Adam? You think $100?
No, don't do it. All the raffles are $100. Make it affordable. Make it even $40, $20. I think you'd sell a ton of them.
Well, you need 400 or 500 tickets sold, which isn't undoable. It's just a lot of paperwork, a lot of work, a lot of chasing down $40. But
it's not my work.
I know.
It's
But
your work.
No, I haven't agreed to it yet. Hey, why don't you go for it, buddy? And we'll show you the math. We'll give you the audience, and you put up the cash. We'll help you raffle off your sprint car. We can definitely do those types of things.
Make it happen.
All right, moving on. Action Sprint Tour Brighton on Saturday. This Saturday, Action Sprint Tour makes its lone trek down the 401 to Brighton, a place that you and I both affectionately really like, Adam. I really love Brighton Speedway. Mark and Ange take great care of us, but we've announced there a lot. I have a blast there. I was there 2 weeks ago. I'm excited to go back. I'm excited to take all of our crate sprint car teams down there. You know, guys like even DJ Christie, Match Day, he's going. Davey Bout. Some of the guys I would expect to be out on the tour have penciled Brighton, and that's super cool.
You know what I love about Brighton? It's a racetrack that if your car is running, you've got a chance to win. You know, if you're going out there and your engine's sputtering and you've got big problems, you're in trouble. But Brighton is a great equalizer because you can't put a ton of power to the track. Like, you really got to be up on the wheel every lap, and stuff happens in a big hurry there.
Yeah, super excited about that. Also want to send a shout out to the folks at Pinty's who have donated their Pinty's Top Deck suite to the Action Sprint Tour friends and family. So we're going to fill that with friends and family of the Action Sprint Tour. Tony and the crew are down at Bristol this week and said definitely fill it up and put good use to it. So we've in about an hour today gave away 20 tickets to the Action Sprint Tour friends and family. We're excited to have them down there to check out those guys, and it's going to be a great show. So if you're down near the Brighton way, make sure you come on and check out the Action Sprint Tour. I'll be on the mic all night filling in there, and excited to be there. So that's this Saturday down at Brighton. Make sure you check it out. Action Sprint Tour presented by RaceRivals.com at Brighton this weekend.
I'm sorry, I'm going to miss that.
I am too, man. I was hoping you could come down. It's going to be great. The racing was awesome. I mean, I go back to a guy like Jordan Hill who preps Osh Weekend and said, "Man, could you book us here like 6 times next year after last year's run?" He absolutely loved it, and a lot of the other guys did. And Mac Demand won it last year, coming back to the crates from the 360. So he hasn't run any races this year, as you mentioned. He's going to be away this week, so we're excited to see a new winner, first-time winner for the Action Sprint Tour at Brighton. And now I see Klager come up, but I just want to throw it out there for any fans going down there. Just give me a second while I pull it up here. The Action Sprint Tour guys are all planning on stopping at Yorkie's Barbecue. So Brandon Merle's sponsor. If you're heading out, Yorkie's Barbecue on the way to Brighton. They're right off the highway in Coburg. Amazing food. A lot of the teams are going to meet around 2:00. So if you want to get down and meet some of the Action Sprinter teams, they'll be all having lunch at Yorkie's Barbecue. It's 20 Carlton Boulevard in Coburg, right on the corner of the road, Highway 45 or Baltimore Road, which is the sign at the 401 exit. So it says the parking lot will be jammed. Park on the side street on Carlton Boulevard. So hopefully you guys get out there and check that out. And if you've not been down to Yorkie's, check out that and support one of the sponsors who's supporting a lot of our race teams. So moving on to Rivalz hash out, Adam. It's almost time for the off season for the live racing, but that means we get into full swing of the Rivalz League. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are I'm looking forward to it happening. I mean, it's this summer's been a bit of a grind, so a little bit of a break would be nice, but I know I'm going to love it. Connor, actually, my son's been racing really well on the dirt, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in the sprint cars, and we've got some exciting changes up our sleeves. And you and I don't even know what the changes are going to be because we really haven't agreed on it just yet, but I know it's going to be unique.
So let's talk about how it was last year. At 7:00 on a Tuesday, we would pick one track. Then we go to another track at 9:00. Basically, race two tracks in a night. I gave you a proposal last night where we stick to our Rivalz Elite division, which is open setups for those who know what iRacing means. Means you can fully set up the car any way you want. Each driver gets their own basically setup. The best of the best race in the Rivalz Elite League each week. We had about 40 to 60 drivers each week compete, and you and I broadcast it live with Spencer's help, and it becomes a bit of an interactive thing like this and keeps us all together in the wintertime. I pitched you guys, and I was talking to Rick Scott from Strickland's. I pitched you a franchise league where we would have 12 teams. Each team would pay $1,000 to get involved. That means each driver would basically be $250 to register.
So yeah, teams of 4.
Yeah. So, for example, Rick from Strickland's, he already said Strickland's would sponsor a team at $1,000. They would pick their 4 drivers, and it would be a bit of team action. Obviously, a lot of these businesses would get involved because we are broadcasting, because the cars would be painted up like their likeness. And I think it's a totally doable idea. You and I, off the top of our head, hashed out probably half the field that would come together with sponsorship right away, or at least invest. So if you're business savvy like a regular racer, you and 4 of your guys can get together and get a business to get you a $1,000 sponsorship, or you can each pitch in $250 and create your own team and go after it. But some of the thoughts were no individual drivers, must be a 4-car team. I'm excited about it, Adam, and it would have a payout of minimum $3,000 back down to $250 for 10th place. And we're trying to bump that up with some of our other sponsors. I see that easily being a $5,000 to win for the champion, down to $500 for 10th, with a good payout in the middle there. What are your thoughts on that? Having a cash league, but this would be with fixed setups.
Is that payout for the team or for the individual driver?
That would be the individual driver, but if your team can split it up any way you want, if you're gonna, however you want to work it out. But we'd pay the driver, I think, and that's why we're hashing it. That's why it's called our Rivalz Racing Hash Out. So any of you guys in the Rivalz end of things, let us know what you think about that through your comments here.
So this is not. So this is not the Rivalz Elite League we're talking about. This would be the Rivalz Intermediate League. So this would be open to anybody.
Hear me out.
Yeah, Michael.
Super Series, Rivalz Super Series, and what we would do is you pay the money to get in. 48 drivers through 12 teams of 4, and we pay out the top 10 in payout and drivers in points at the end. We may have a team component in there as well. So the team with the most points would obviously get something back. Maybe their entry fee back, I think would be fair.
I
We've
I
got
almost
lots of
think
different things to think about.
I almost think you just pay the teams. So if you have a 10-team championship, they can divvy it up however they want. Like we'd still have a point standings. Pay the teams. They can split it evenly 4 ways, or they could split it based on who produced the best results. But the big thing I want to look at is, okay, so we can draw people that way. People are going to want to invest in it. What's the draw for the Elite Series then? To where our Cody Hartlob and Kevin Loveys are.
Well, here's the rub, okay, and maybe I'm wrong again because I don't play iRacing or I'm not invested in the game
You
other
don't
than
you don't play. Stop it. Stop.
sorry, I don't simulate iRacing.
You don't play. Nobody plays iRacing. You race iRacing.
I get it. I'm trying to change that. I get it. It's not a game; it's a simulation, right? So
It's a stimulating simulation.
yeah, say the racing geeks. Back to what I'm saying is, by it being a fixed setup, we're now looking at a race of champions type deal where the best skill would be the best team, not necessarily the best setup or the best, hookup. And I was thinking, even after we got off the phone last night, you could brainstorm maybe the guy who wins the elite race the previous week completes the setup for everybody uses the next week at said track. So I'm excited about it. I think it could be an interesting deal. You look at, we play hockey every Monday. I have to pay $300 to play hockey. So to get involved in the league where you are on the air, you are broadcast around the world, there's a lot of great things we're doing here aside from just hosting a race.
I'll tell you something interesting. I had a chat with Martin Davio earlier on tonight, Clinton, who got me into these leagues and got me interested. And he works with the Asphalt League with us, and he was the race director on the dirt. And I told him about your idea, the $1,000 a team. He said, that just won't work. That's a terrible idea, which is why I think, Clinton, it's a great idea. Because every time people say this is horrible, it can't happen, it makes my ears perk up and think, okay, this is clearly something different than the norm. So maybe we can make it work.
I think it would be interesting. I like I said, half the teams, I know of 6 teams already of the 12 that could assemble $1,000 immediately and get it going. And I think the guys will take it more seriously if they're invested in it.
Dusty DeBoer just did it. Look at what he commented, Clint. Do you have the comments up? Come on, Spencer.
There you go.
Are you going to have team owners draft drivers? And Dusty, this is what I came back with to Clint when he said it. So I'm all about, so say you're Rick Scott. Say you're Rick Scott with Strickland's GMC. He wants to put together the best team that he can, and I get that. So did George Steinbrenner with the New York Yankees. And he tried to stick it to all the other teams, which is why they have drafts and free agencies and things like that. I mean, that's where I think it could be so very cool is if you open it up to a scenario like that. But I mean, just the sky's the limit. There's fun stuff that could be done. I like the notion of a draft. I think there's some fun components to that. So we're going to keep on tweaking. It's going to be a fun season once our outdoor season ends. And I think the big thing is fixed setups for one full series. Our elite will still be elite, whatever we call it, open setups, but we are going to have fixed setups so people don't have to live on iRacing and tweak setups and just come out and race and have no excuses on why you didn't win.
Yeah, and I mean, the elite is still going to have a lot of bonuses to it. We're still working on sponsorship. We are in talks with some corporate deals. Let's face it, the iRacing thing we did last winter turned a lot of heads from a lot of the big wigs in the big name companies that are involved with Canadian motorsports. And we go to Motorama, we want to talk about our weekend. We want to talk about stuff like All North Racing. They want to talk about iRacing and the next generation. So I really think you asked what the dig, why we would go for elite. Well, still, it's the best of the best. It's the best setups. It's the best drivers. Hey, you got to beat Cody Hartlob to be the best, and the Alex Bergerons and those types of guys. And you're going to do that by racing the elite division. And I think our association with guys like Christopher Bell and Rico, I fully expect them to come out and race with us a couple nights this year. We definitely talked with it. So it's cool. And that's the other thing. Okay, so back to the draft. How do drivers will have to register, or do something like that. Now, is the driver paying his own registration? Is he not? For the first year, I'd say is let it fly. It's basically like NASCAR. A NASCAR team can go out and hire any race car driver they want to drive for them as long as they're not already in agreement with another team. So let's go find out who the best of the best is out there in the weeds and just go for it. So I think the easiest way for us to do it would just be to say to start up a team registration, first 12 teams to put in their $1,000 and we're going for it. I think our first team right now would be Rick from Strickland's. He already committed to me last week, and the driver limit would be 4 drivers per team for a total of 48, I think.
Well, look, and
Thoughts,
Frank
Adam?
Guerreri's already said we got Team New York headed in. $1,000 to them is only like $500 in green bills. So I think we could count on them.
700 over there.
Exactly.
And that's what I mean. So right off the top of our head, we're at 6 teams, and we haven't even started scratching at all, right?
Be interesting.
But I'm excited about it. So, do you like the name, the Super Series? I like that. It's been my working title here for the last 24 hours on my computer.
Is that right?
What do you guys want to call it? Yeah, the Rivalz Super Series. But whatever. Hey, let's talk about what we're doing for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals with last year's champions.
What are we doing?
I thought you were bringing them all up and putting them up in hotels and everything.
Oh, iRacing. But I thought you meant last year's Sprint Car Nationals champions. Yes, we're having a big Rivalz reunion on Canadian Sprint Car Nationals weekend. So Cody Hartlaub for being the champion of the series. We've got a most expenses paid weekend for him. We got a hotel room waiting for him. We got passes to the race all weekend. I don't want to say all expenses because I don't even know where the hell he's from, and I don't want to hand you that bill. But yeah, they're being invited up. We got a lot of people getting together. So folks, if you have the chance, come on out. We'll do some bench racing. We'll get the gang together. We'll do some chatting and have a great time.
Yeah, so watch for us coming in Tuesdays. In the off season is when our Rivalz broadcasts are usually up. It's the Rivalz Racing League, and we're excited about that. We'll bring you more news on that. And I think probably by next Wednesday's show we'll have a bunch more items to talk about.
We'll have things hashed out. And for the first time ever, how long have I been saying, Clinton, we need to have these discussions on the air? Because you and I all the time we're on the phone. Hey, what's going on? What are you up to today? Okay, let's talk about this. And then we let ideas flow and we've come up with some really bad ideas, but once in a while you get something that's fantastic. Think, okay, this has potential, and that's kind of what we did tonight. We talked out Rivalz a little bit. I think we still have a lot to go, but I do think, once we develop this notion, we've still got to go back to that 7 to 10 p.m. broadcast time slot, and maybe now that I think of it, maybe we even put the asphalt racing on the same night, so you have 3 different races going on, just like we talk the live PD show where they go to different places when things heat up. Maybe that's something we could do. Just food for thought.
Well, we did discuss that a little bit where we kind of do this. We'd be the hub, and as incidents and action goes on around us in the various leagues, we could jump in and jump out and have interviews with some of the participants. I think the future is definitely bright for the iRacing thing. Also, by having a super series or different type of series where they are fixed setups and a fixed driver's lineup, it also opens it up for the Rivalz pool betting as well, because we're going to know exactly who's going to be there every week and ready to race. So a lot of exciting opportunities for that. Back to the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, Adam, because Hunter there mentioned that it should be the action series. Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, to back up to where we were with that. The Friday next year, I got a pitch together now to make that the Canadian Crate Nationals on the Friday and the 360 Nationals on the Saturday, with 46 of them showing up and more being built every day. It's conceivable that we could easily be at 55 crates for a national event next year, and that's super cool. So that was another thought that came up this week that I just wanted to throw in there.
What do we run on this Saturday of Sprint Car Nationals?
Well, it's been various things over the year. This year, it's crate. It's the Action Sprint Tour finale, so it is the crates on the Saturday. So it is a pure sprint car Saturday event for the Nationals. But I think next year it warrants going back to doing a crate Nationals on the Friday and a 360 Nationals on the Saturday, and could be a super cool weekend. So moving on, awesome. Grand Prix Trois Rivières last weekend, and you had some
Grunt,
items you wanted to discuss there.
that does not roll off the tongue very well. Like it takes a lot of years,
GP3R?
and
Oh.
I still suck at it. That's why I say GP3R. Clinton, that was our 8th event this year with NASCAR Pinty Series. It was the 8th event this year that's been affected by rain. All 8 races. It's unbelievable.
That sucks.
So Saturday was pretty much a wash. Didn't get much action on the track. So Sunday morning they had a practice session. They lined up the race by points, and it was an amazing race. Now, Spencer, did you get don't put the footage up yet, but did you get the footage? Okay. So Clinton, in road racing, it has always been that when there is an accident on a certain part of the track, they wave yellow flags for that certain part of the track. You cannot pass. You have to drive. You have to stay in line through that part, and then you can resume racing once you get to the next section. So are you aware of that? Are you familiar with that concept?
Yes. Sure.
So local yellows. When NASCAR came along and started running more road courses, they said this doesn't work. And the reason being because there's corner marshals in every corner on a road course. So if someone calls an aggressive move or a dirty move on such and such a car, they have to penalize that car. And that's not the way. NASCAR likes for one person to be in charge. So what they did was anytime you see a yellow, it is a full course yellow. We're going to use blue flags in the corners. So if there's an incident or if there's fluid or if there's something, they're going to wave a blue flag and it'll let you know there might be a problem. But you can still keep on racing. There are no local yellows. So I bring that up to show you this highlight from GP3R. Alex Tagliani was leading the race, and it was pretty evident that LP Dumoulin in second place in the 47 was faster than the race leader. And I mean, he was hounding Tagliani. He just couldn't get around. He couldn't find a spot to make his pass. So having that look right there, they went into the corner. There's TJ Rinamato spun out. Tagliani instinctively drives to the outside to avoid it. Dumoulin was able to drive to the inside. Look at how close that was when they get back in line. Dumoulin out front. Well, have a look at the replay. So these are all blind corners. There's Rinamato. You don't know if he's going to keep on rolling, where he's going.
Ooh.
Just like that. Just that quickly, the lead changes, and Tag was never able to battle back and get the lead back from him. So on the victory lap after the race, you get in the back of a pace truck and you drive around the racetrack. Tag was there in second. I always go for that ride because we go to the press conference. And Tag looks down and says, can he pass like that when there's a car spun out? And so I explained to him the same rule. Like, how do you take that? Should you be allowed to pass when there's a car sideways, driver's door exposed to the field?
Well, there's no yellow, right? So it's one of those deals where you just kind of get caught up in someone else's bad racing luck, and we'll discuss that a bit further tonight. But okay, even if you have a local yellow, are they going to be able to throw it that fast and make that call that quick? It takes more than a couple seconds to make that all happen. So I think that all happened so fast that I think it's a fair pass. What are your thoughts? Okay, so look at the O2's sideways, and he should be just stopped right there for one, but that's neither here nor there. Pulls right out in the race line. Tag goes around the outside. Whew. That's
tough
so
call.
tight,
So
right?
back in the day, you could argue, no, that'd be a local yellow. That pass comes back. Well, how do you give that pass back if they don't go full course yellow? Like, it's all heat of the moment stuff, right? How do you make the call? I mean, Rinamato doing what he does. Look at how tall the walls are. You cannot see around the walls coming into these corners. Like, that had to be. I'm so proud of both of these drivers for making it around there, because it was a great race. I mean, the fans were going crazy. It was the first time ever LP Dumoulin in the 47, his brother JF Dumoulin in the 04 were on the podium together, and it was in their hometown. I mean, the place absolutely erupted.
I saw the video someone shared of them walking back to their haulers at the end, and it was like, the war champions coming home to the castle, and everybody was going crazy and chanting, and it was quite a scene. So congrats to the Dumoulins. But what's your take on it, Adam? Same thing, like, it's a racing deal. It just happens so fast. I don't think you could make a call on that. Can you?
It's a split-second decision, and the rules are in place. So NASCAR, way back since NASCAR took over in '07, the rules have been there are no local yellows. It's no holds barred. As long as you're racing, do what you got to do. Because that rule is in place, the officials don't have a decision to make. Fair pass.
Yeah.
You're on the track.
Oof.
There's no full course yellow. Do what you have to do. He never put Tagliani out of position. He didn't disrespect Tagliani's line because as the leader, Tagliani should be able to choose where he wants to go. Just the opportunity presented itself. So in my eyes, that's the rule book working for the officials because they don't have to make a decision.
Fair enough. That's an interesting situation, man. I'm glad I'm not over there. Let's jump back to Friday now. Two situations went on there. Of course, one not so much talked about as the other one that was. First off, we'll look at the 49 and the 53 of Schwedick. Bailey and Logan Schwedick got together. I think it was coming to the white flag here. And it was Schwedick and Bailey. And here they are coming off for the white flag. And Bailey gets tagged and turned around there. What a wicked job to save it in front of the field.
It was a nice save. I understand there was a conversation between Bailey and Schwedick after the race. Don't know what was said. I have no idea. I just know there was a conversation. Spencer, show that again and back it all the way up to the beginning, Clinton. And this goes to our point that when you're leading the race, you get to make choices. And Logan Schwedick gets to choose, hey, I want to come down the racetrack. As long as he doesn't run Bailey into the wall on the inside or the outside, he's got the right to alter his line. Would you agree?
1,000%. The leader
so
has that prerogative.
As long as you don't make it, and it's one like IndyCar and F1, we're doing that second block. You can make a defensive move as long as you're not zigzagging down a straightaway and being a complete weapon. So I can see where Dave Bailey might not have liked that. But I also see where Logan Schwedick saw, you know what? I want to win this race. If I run up to the wall, I'm letting Bailey get a great run off the corner. If I keep my car pinched down and keep him pinched down with it. Now, Bailey could have spun him out, right? Bailey didn't have to take himself out. He did the really a gentlemanly thing, kept the car going. He was probably pretty disappointed. But there again, if you're an official, is there a call to make there? Did Dave Bailey get wronged in that situation?
Now, I have to, obviously address this first off by saying I am sort of an official there, basically, right? So I have to be careful on what I say, but I don't think, and let me just back that up by saying, and I think in my whole career as an official or a broadcaster, we've been straight with the fans and the drivers. So I'm just going to tell it like we see it, right? And for me, I don't think there's a call to be made there. Spencer, play it again for me if you can. If we can watch that one again, I'm going to ask you to stop it at a certain point. So they're all good through here. Dave's taking a peek in. And get ready to stop it right there, Spence. So if you stop it there, okay, even if you back it up an inch or two, but even right there, Schwedick is clearly the leader. Even right there, okay, that's perfect spot. So clearly Schwedick's the leader. Bailey sees him coming down. He's got the opportunity to put the brakes on or change. Now, you're right. He may not like it. It may be dirty racing, and I'm not calling that situation dirty racing, but let it go, Spence. And there you see Schwedick. I don't think he intentionally chopped. He's trying to hold on and push as hard as he can to win that race. Now, I saw Bailey Sunday at Humberstone. I said, hey, I heard there were words, and Bailey made me laugh because he said, yeah, I told him that he smashed into my right front. And I said, that's what everybody says who drives into the left rear of the guy in front of them. He drove over my right front. But I think just hard racing there. And you're right. Bailey was courteous. He didn't take him out because I think he knew that leading us up to the next event we're going to discuss is if you take out the leader, you know what the penalty is. You're going to go back with him. So instead of keeping his foot and spinning the leader and going tail with him, he took whatever came and ended up with his fate back and forth.
And you know what would make that whole situation different is if Dave Bailey's right front corner, his bumper, is in the 3 or the 5 of Logan Schwedick's number. Completely different. He can dictate the line that Schwedick comes off the corner with. There'd be some physicality there. There'd be some rubbing. Maybe Doug Leonard has to make a decision based on what happens next. But because Schwedick got that better run off the corner, and Bailey, instead of being in the driver's door, was back in the left rear corner, it leaves him with a horrible choice. I either spin him out and I'm going to get screwed, or I try to pinch my car off and save it, run the risk of me spinning out. And that's what happened to him. So right there, if he's up to the number on Schwedick, they make a little bit of contact off the corner, and then they race down into one, and whatever happens, happens. Because he's back at the left rear corner the way he was, he's sort of pigeonholed. And I don't think you can penalize the race leader for choosing that line to run.
Where they are right there. I mean, he is clearly the leader. I mean, Bailey may have him by the back end of the number there, but only for a very, very minor second as they're sliding up together.
And we have the luxury of slowing it down. No,
I think this and all the action we saw, we got to commend the drivers because the racing was awesome on Friday, in every class. So
I enjoyed watching it. I was laying in bed, feeling terrible in where were we this weekend? Quebec. And I was watching it and arguing with people on the Facebook feed, but that's okay. It was fun. But no, great racing.
So that brings us to the last one and probably the most controversial call. Where we talk about Dylan Westbrook and Scott Kruger's incident on Friday at Oshwegan Speedway. First off, the racing was amazing. These guys were putting on a hell of a show, slicing and dicing, slide job city through the traffic. And I think that's the biggest crime in all this, is that we didn't get to see the potential finish of what this race really could have been between Scott Kruger and Dylan Westbrook. And a couple other things before we get into it. Well, first off, Adam, you can respond to that statement because I know you got something to say there.
Oh, which statement do I want to respond to?
Just about how great the racing was. We talked about a lot.
It was an awesome race. I think that battle would have gone on forever. I think those two cars on that night, Scott Kruger in the 49, Dylan Westbrook in the 47X, I think they both had badass race cars, and they were both driving the wheels off of them, and some of the slower traffic was causing them fits. And I don't even think the slower traffic was being necessarily rude to the leaders. They were running their race. It was just making for a challenging race. So let's watch just in full speed. In full speed, Spencer, I want to watch this replay twice. Show it all the way through once, and then let's show it all the way through again. There's Scott Kruger in that black and orange 49, Dylan Westbrook in the 47X. And I'm going to shut up and we can just watch, Clint.
Well, Westbrook gets around him on the outside here, and this is where it happens going into one.
Well, now you ruined the surprise. So Kruger amazingly 360 keeps it sure. This is how it should have been. The call was accurate. We stand behind it 100%. And then what happened?
I got my ass handed to me all week about it. First off, I want to say a big shout out to Doug Leonard for having the strong enough shoulders to let us rehash all this, because most tracks would just want this swept under the rug and let it go. So there's a couple rules that this falls under, Kevin, and we can try and get back to that in a minute. My thoughts initially were that it was the right call, and here's the thought. One, the 47 may, and I guess everybody's argument has been basically that Scott didn't have anywhere to go. He was pinched. He was already committed. He was going down into one. And I also want to mention these are some of the most respectful racers we've got there. Dylan and Scott are not problem drivers in the pits for us. So I appreciate them allowing us to rehash this out again, too, because I know it sucked for both of them, probably more than it did us, and it definitely cost them some money. So here's the issue, though. People are saying that Scott had nowhere to go and should have kept his spot because he kept going. My issue is if you spin out the leader from the backside, and you have to go to the back with them, because we cannot have drivers being allowed to just spin drivers out. Or you'll have guys like Bailey taking out guys like Schwedick in the thing we just watched with articulate perfection every week, and it'll make a mockery of what we've all grown up watching. Now, I realize sprint cars are a lot different than Thunderstocks, and that's the first thing the sprint car guys are going to tell us and argue about. So
okay, so let me try to tackle this. Let me try to tackle this, Clint. And the way I view it, and there's 10 different ways to look at it. We're not saying someone caused a caution. So you don't have to be immobilized. You don't have to come to a stop to be considered a part of the caution. When a yellow flag comes out, the race director has to determine what brought out this yellow. What brought out this yellow?
Let me stop you right there. First off, because to confirm what you're saying, and the guys are asking how the written rule is written, if your top wing falls off or your nose wing falls off or your sideboard falls off and we attribute it to you, even if you don't stop and we have to throw the yellow because your nose wing's on the track, you're going tail. So there's many instances where you don't have to stop to be an involved car or the cause of the caution. So sorry to cut you off. Continue.
No, you're right on. So that yellow was created when the 47X pitched his car into turn one. The way I look at it, and I could be wrong and it doesn't matter, he would have raced Steve Lyons either side by side or driven directly across his nose, and whatever would have happened, happened. The way he went into turn one left Scott Kruder with absolutely nowhere to go. Kruder, his brakes wouldn't have slowed him down in time. He couldn't have turned right hard enough. The only place he could have gone was exactly where he did. Contact was made with the 47X, who is the race leader. Kruder spins around, does a 360. That doesn't even matter at this point, because what matters is what that contact led to. That contact with the 47X led the 47X to get spun, collect with the 9 car, and both wind up backwards. That never happened if the 49 car hasn't come in and kept the 47X going. So I'm not saying, Scott Kruder, did he make a mistake? No. Did Westbrook make a mistake? No. Who's to say? Whether he chose to check the car up and come down the racetrack or not, as the leader, that's his prerogative to do. But the rule, and going back to Kevin Lovey's points or anyone else's points, what's the rule? Everyone who is involved in a caution goes to the back. And nobody who has watched racing can tell me that the 49 had nothing to do with that caution. His spin doesn't matter to me. That's after he's already involved in the creation of the caution. I'm not saying he took out the leader. I'm saying he is partly involved in creating that yellow flag, and everyone with a degree of involvement goes to the back.
Well, I agree. So one off, everybody's been honest for speculating whether it was intentional, whether it was a mistake. We can't speculate. And by the same token, we can't speculate whether Dylan was going to actually lose control or if he was just badass sideways. And I mean, I stand down there with Sean in the middle 3 and 4, and half these guys have the back end leading the front, and they somehow come out of it. So I think that a guy with Dylan's, I don't see Dylan wrecking on that. He would have been morbidly screwed up that corner, but I don't see him hitting Steven. I don't see him losing control. And we'll watch it a few more times. Just to read what everyone's been asking about what the rule says. Rule 5.115 says any car that does a 360 spin, Scott Kruder, does not bring out a yellow flag, will continue to race where he falls in line. So had the yellow not come out, Kruder could have kept his spot. So say he got in heavy contact with Westbrook, got him all sideways, Westbrook continues, Kruder spins out, but we don't go yellow for whatever reason, he keeps his spot. If the yellow does come out, the car will be placed at the tail of the field and charged with a yellow. So it's pretty clear right there that he should have went tail.
Do me a favor here, because Allison just commented, and I'm not sure what Allison, take the time. Either come on the program, because we did invite you, and we've got a link for you if you want to, or at least type it out so it's understandable. Like, I don't mind the debate. To me, it's not bitter. What I didn't like was people talking that it's politics or it's bias or it's this official being an idiot. No, put that. We don't have a bias against anybody. What the heck do I care? But I do want to know, based on the explanation that Clint just gave and that I just gave, how it doesn't make sense that those cars go tail. Like I say, total bummer. I could have watched that race for 100 laps between Scott and Dylan and been crazy entertained. But I want to understand where the thinking is that we've got it out for someone or another. Spencer, cue it up again, and let's have a look.
I'd like to watch it a couple more times too and stop it. But you go first, Adam. I want to make a few points as we watch it.
Stop it when Westbrook pitches it into one. I want you to stop it, and this is where we can comment on all
stop
three
it here
drivers.
right now.
Okay, so clearly, looking at Westbrook's car only. All right, the two cars in front of him are fairly conservatively doing what they want to do. Westbrook has pitched his car. It is going to scrub off speed. There's nobody around him. He's not chopping off anybody at this point. He's driving his race because remember, he knows Steve Lyons in that 9 is to his inside. Now, if we're going to get into
Okay.
speculating what the drivers are thinking, I'm going to speculate. Dylan thought if he does this, Lyons is going to basically spike the brakes, get out of his way, and he'll have the inside groove.
See, what I see here, Adam, is I don't see the 49. So, in my opinion, and of course, I'm not driven these cars, and we're just speculating from the outside. My argument here to my dad, as we fought about it all afternoon Saturday, was the 49's not even in the picture now. They're not side by side when he pitches it sideways. Scott has a lot of time, in my opinion, in sprint car time now, to make a call here. Scott guessed he was that what Westbrook was going to do, and he committed to the bottom, at which point he guessed wrong. And when Westbrook went there, the hole was filled and they made contact. I get it. But my point right now is the 49's not even in the shot, and Westbrook is already sideways. So if we play it from here, just click it one click and stop it again, Spencer, if you can. Give me one frame. Okay, give me another frame.
So even before that, Kruder has made his decision. And I'm not, like I said, we're not faulting him. And Allison, Clinton and I both said the same thing. Clinton said Kruder got into the 47X and spun him out. I said contact was made leading the 47X to spin out. I'd say we're pretty consistent on that. But remember, we're not saying, why on earth would Scott go into the corner and blast through the leader and wreck him? Like, you'd have to be a fool to think that's none. So I mean, that's not even in question.
Keep going now. Just give me a couple more frames here, Spencer. Okay, so right now Westbrook is going for the gap in the middle. Kruder's already pitched it sideways. Now, whether he's on the brakes or not, it's not a matter of intent.
He's not near as sideways as Westbrook is.
No. So now play it another frame, Spence. Another one.
So now Kruder's starting to pitch it. So now and again, we could be way off. I think Kruder's saying my closing rate is.
I think Kruder says, "Oh shit!" right here. He knows he's in trouble.
Yeah,
it's too late.
Exactly.
But I want go Spencer to where they make contact. Okay, right there. One more. Okay, so more. Wow, he's even close. So look at where they hit. Okay, Kruder's right front to Westbrook's left rear. As an official, you cannot let the leader get run over from the back. And one of my arguments with Daryl Turford today was, I feel that Daryl Turford's got a lot of things. It's very tough for us to do these types of things. But my response to Daryl was, in racing, sometimes there's nothing you can do. You get caught up in other people's problems, and that's what happened here. Unfortunately, Scott was involved, even though it was no fault of his own. That still doesn't excuse the fact that he has to go to the back as an involved car. That's just my thoughts on that,
Spencer, back it up again.
If we let drivers pick off second, spin out first, regardless of whether it's intentional or not. And like I said, these are two of the classiest races we have. I don't think for 1 second we thought, oh, that dirty move, that dirty SOB took a run at Westbrook. No, it was like, oh my God, what did I say to you? Oh, I'm looking forward to this one after the races, because I knew Scott would be waiting there for me at the tech barn, and Allison was already fired up, and I'm like, oh man. But that's the beauty of our technology. We can all rewind it and watch it. I already had my opinion by the time I got to Scott. I was trying to show him the video. It's one of those deals, man. We hate making these calls. I mean, Doug don't like being put in this spot. I don't like being put in this spot. It's just tough all around,
Okay, so Spencer, back it up and play it again. And for the people watching, tell me where the 47X spins out. 47X brings out this caution. Tell me where.
Like he was straightening out when we went.
He was straight. That's right. He was straightening the car. The spin happened after contact with the 49. And then there was contact with the 9. Those 3 cars were involved. So there was someone that made a comment that involved cars have never gone to the back. Not true. NASCAR has a different way of doing things, but let's not even get into that with short track racing, where we're talking about. That's how it goes. Dylan Westbrook was not going to spin out going into 1 unless those 3 cars converged on the same spot. All 3 cars made contact. All 3 cars involved. And I say Doug Leonard, really good call.
Well, of course, everyone's going to say we say that because we're on Doug's team and all that. But I would be the first one to tell you we screwed it up if we screwed it up. But I'm shocked out of that 95% of the racers around me don't see it from our perspective and don't see what we're talking about here. And I think had we let the 49 keep his spot, it would have been a terrible call, because how do you explain that on the way? Everybody would be able to say, how do you get to spin out the leader and keep your spot? I mean, you know me, that would drive me crazy.
Yeah. No,
because then what it comes down
was
to is who's got the biggest, toughest crew. Because I can spin everybody out every week and fight my way out of the pits, and it's not good. Like that angle right there, the 49 clearly takes out the 47. Intent.
No, wait a second.
Notwithstanding.
I don't think takes out is the word. I think makes contact and leads to to something else. So that's where I want to be cautious, where we're saying involved cars. The 9 isn't even an involved car until right now.
Yeah,
the 9's just running his line.
Contact again, Spence.
Now the 9's
like, man.
It's wild to watch.
And the other thing I've been saying is we're trying to take as much judgment out as we can. So let me make it very black and white. If you're in second place and you spin out the leader, you're going tail with him as long as I'm manager. I mean, I can't make it any more black and white for you there.
Yeah.
You know?
And
I missed Allison's comment there.
No, they've been good, and I agree with Allison. No hard feelings. It's hard racing. It's just a decision that has to be made in that tight of time. And now I haven't asked this question yet, Clinton. I want to ask it now. Did Doug Leonard watch any replays to make that call, or did he just make the call?
He made the call.
And I haven't asked. I was curious, but that might drive me crazy having to watch that over and over again like that, if that's what I chose to do as Doug. But no, I think
it does drive us crazy when we are when we do make a call that we all can see as bad after the fact. I mean, that eats us up. I mean, I watched this one probably 1,000 times between now and Saturday morning at 1 a.m. and I don't see where we can do anything differently. Now, Jake brings up a good point. He went this way. He went off the wall. I've also said it in some of my comments and my arguments. The leader has the choice to go in at any velocity, angle, speed, or line he wants, because he's only going to go away with chopping you once or twice before he's either going to scrub off too much and lose, or he's going to get in a jingle and cause himself problems. So I still feel that, the leader has the right to go in and should not be driven from the back no matter what. And even if he drops that anchor hard in turn 1 and basically stops, unfortunately for the 49, intentional or not, you're an involved car. It's racing luck. It sucks. Congratulations on the awesome win and the super cool picture with Dawson on the wing, because those are memories you're not going to get back from Erie's. So, I mean, even though we had everybody on your team hating us and throwing shade at us all weekend, I was still proud of you, Scott. That was a good win and a super cool picture with your little boy.
No, and that's the thing. That's what's fun is people are passionate. They're passionate about what happens to them. We're passionate about what happens at the racetrack, Clinton. And when things do go sideways, when calls do get screwed up or poor decisions get made, we're as hard on each other as anybody, or as hard on whoever made certain decisions. So once in a while, you kind of have to take the heat. And we have taken opinions from people we have a huge amount of respect for, and you can't say they're wrong.
Oh, man.
It's just not the opinion that we have, and not the opinion that Doug Leonard had. And I think hats off. I think he got it right.
I know a lot of other racers still don't believe that when you watch the video or read the comments, but as we said, it is a tough call. And I got on the radio with Doug right away as soon as it happened. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "The 49's got to go to the back." And I just said, "I 100% agree. Sometimes you don't make the luck, but you get caught up in it." And that was a situation, tough deal for the 49.
And hey, Scott, great post, great comments by Scott Kruger there. And again, it's not easy being in these cars and having everything you do micro dissected, and same with us, Clinton. Our words dissected. Oh, what do you mean here? What do you mean here? It gets pretty intense. But the fun thing is, We're all going to be there Friday. We're all part of the same family. Hopefully we put on more awesome racing. One thing I am excited about with the Sprint Car Nationals coming up is I think our hometown drivers have as good a chance this year as we have ever had in defending our home turf and keeping the Sprint Car Nationals trophy right at Ohsweken Speedway or with an Ohsweken Speedway team or where it would be well deserved.
I agree. I think our hometown talent has really upped their game the past year again. It's going to be awesome to see these guys go at it. And I think it's cool that Scott can address this with us. And I agree with what Fran said. 99% of the tracks wouldn't go after, would not want to rehash this, but it was such a hot topic. And I think we need to figure out, we need to let people know what our perspective is on what the thought process. And one of the things I've always said at Ohsweken is you may not like the decisions that are handed down to you, but we will always take as much time as it needs to explain how we got there,
Yeah.
So
interesting question by Dusty. If Kruger spun and Westbrook kept going and the caution came out, to both go to the back? If Kruger spun and Westbrook kept going and a caution came out.
So he's saying if he hit him like he did, but lost control. Not really.
No, because as the leader, you have so that what changes in that situation, Dusty, is the leader has the right to be where they want to be on the racetrack. So if second place runs into the leader and spins themselves out, just like Dave Bailey did with Logan Schwedick. So let's say there was a yellow in both of those cases and the leader kept going. No, the leader's not going to go to the back because they were, in my opinion, running their line. So the fact that there was no yellow in the Thunderstock feature and no call shows the consistency with the decision making.
Dusty says, should be clear if second hits the leader and only second spins is leader involved. Those are tough things to say. I think it's a situation by situation basis. I would like to say that I think Doug's one of the best in the business at dealing with this stuff on the spot. He takes a shit kicking publicly. And I know there was some of the stupid comments people were writing just making me laugh about Doug. And, I think it's funny when people say politics and all that, because I assure you, no politics is worth the headache of a wrong call. Okay. So, it's a lot easier to make all the calls right and leave than to muff one for your buddies, as people seem to think goes on. And I know Doug doesn't really have any favorites. He hates everybody equally. And I'm joking, obviously, when I say that, but it's the truth. He's the grumpy old man and all the kids are just in trouble as everybody else is. There are no favorites and you all better play along nice and it's a shit job. But we've stressed him out so much that he's taken this week off. We've got Joe Scott Nicky in the tower this week. So everybody who's pissed off at Doug, you'll get a week off from him.
What I do want to say, though, is I'm glad that people do feel they can make comments because they should be able to make comments, even if they're comments out of anger. I don't like it when people talk bias and talk politics, but I still respect the fact that everyone who comes to the Speedway is a customer. They deserve to be
100%.
heard. We don't have to agree. We might disagree. We might have this conversation, put out a 1-hour program, and at the end, we might still disagree. But the opportunity is always there to have that communication, to have that conversation. And Clinton, that's what I think has always been. I'm not an official, you are, but I think with us, that's always been part of what's really helped us do fairly well is the fact that, look, throw your opinions out there. If we're going to be up here and throw our opinions out, we at least have to be willing to listen to other opinions, whether we like them or not.
No, I agree. It's been another great show. Everybody, thank you so much for participating. The number's been off the roof. For me and Adam to get on camera with Spencer and just mess around on a Wednesday night and have all you awesome people hang out with us, throw your opinions. I think we're really helping to build the sport. Adam and I, we're constantly in boardroom meetings with some of the higher ups, and I really feel like we're getting somewhere, man. And we're not just blowing smoke at these guys. I mean, we went out and said, we're going to make some stuff happen. We brought in live TV this year with All North Racing. Some big news coming down the pipe with that. Hopefully by next week, based on our conference call yesterday. So just some really cool stuff going on. We're at a great time. As we said, car counts are up. Racing's amazing. We're living the good old days that our parents talked to us about. So make sure you enjoy these times and get out to the races. Hey, season's almost over. Bring someone to the track. We need to get everybody out there.
I apologize that I can't be there this Friday, but I will be there next week, and there's still lots of racing to go, and it's going to be a blast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's been a lot of fun.
Spencer, play the upcoming commercial for us as we break out. Let us know your questions or comments. You can reach us here or on Facebook. Adam Ross, Clinton Jeffrey. We'll talk at you soon. Thanks, Spencer, for being the awesome producer you are, throwing all this together for us. It continues to get better every week. Don't forget, make your Rivals picks. Go to racerivals.com and sign up for Victory Games with a Z. Get your bonuses. Talk to you soon, guys. Thanks. We'll see you at the races Friday night.
And coming up this month at Ush Weekend Speedway, Friday, August 16th, Jibs Action Sports presents Autograph Night, and Halloween in August. Kids in costumes get in for free. Come and trick-or-treat the front straightaway while you meet the drivers up close at intermission. Coming up at our Weekend Speedway next Friday, August 23rd, Gale's Auto Aftermarket presents Gale's Thunderstock Cash Blast, featuring a full card of racing plus a 50 lapper for the Thunderstocks that will pay $2,000, $750, and $500 for the top 3 positions. Friday, August 30th, Pinty's Delicious Foods presents Back to School Backpack Night. Every child in attendance has the chance to win a new backpack filled with school supplies donated by our amazing race teams. And on the track, it's a full card of action, plus Gale's Mini Stock Cash Blast that will pay $1,000, $500, and $300 for the top 3 Mini Stock finishers. Friday, September 6th, Epic Racewear presents Championship Friday. All divisions will battle hard on the final points night of the season, September 6th. The final round in the quest for the rings.